Narayanam Namaskritam Naram Shaikanarotamam Yedam Saraswatam Yasam Dojayam Sudhirayat Nastaprayasu Bhadrasu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Rutam Sute Bhakti Nayasati. Well, today we're continuing the discussion on the hellish planets. I don't see Dharma here, but deliberately I've been avoiding giving classes on this portion of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada very seldom spoke of this, although I have been many, many times to all of these hellish planets. My memory eludes me and I cannot remember what it was like. So, in the beginning of this chapter, Sukadeva Goswami, he describes 28 of these hellish planets. So, I'm going to read the sloka. I forgot my glasses, so Evam Vidyanarayam Yamalaya Santi Sathasya Sahasrasya Teshu Sarveshu Cha Sarva Karma Partino Ye Chit Iho Gita Anuditaschaivanni Ate Maryaya Yena Vishanti Ataiva Varmamanu Vartina Itaryarka Ihatu Purner Paveta Ayasisa Ayam Yesh Vasyam. I won't read the words for word. Translation. My dear King Parikshit, in the province of Yamaraj, there are hundreds and thousands of hellish planets. The impious people I have mentioned and those I have not mentioned must all enter these various planets according to the degree of their impiety. Those who are pious, however, enter other planetary systems, namely the planets of the demigods. Nevertheless, both the pious and impious are again brought to earth after the results of their pious or impious acts are exhausted. Report. This corresponds to the beginning of Lord Krishna's instructions in the Bhagavad Gita. Within this material world, one is simply meant to change from one body to another in different planetary systems. Udhavyam Gachahanti Sattva Shiva. Those in the mode of goodness are elevated to heavenly planets. Aho Gachanti Adnasya. Similarly, those too engrossed in ignorance enter into hellish planetary systems. Both of them, however, are subjected to the repetition of birth and death. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that even one who is very pious returns to Earth after his enjoyment in the higher planetary systems is over. Therefore, going from one planet to another does not solve the problem of life. The problem of life will only be solved when we no longer have to accept a material body. This can be possible if one simply becomes Krishna conscious, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 9. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearances and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal goal, O Arjuna. This is the perfection of life and the real solution to life's problems. We should not be eager to go to the higher heavenly planet systems, nor should we act in such a way that we have to go to the hellish planets. The complete identity or the complete purpose of this material world will be fulfilled when one resumes our spiritual identity and go back home, back to Godhead. The very simple method for doing this is prescribed here by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should be neither pious nor impious. One should be a devotee and surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna. The surrendering process is also very easy. Even a child can perform it. One must always simply think of Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One should become Krishna's devotee, worship him, and offer obeisances unto him. Thus, one should gauge all the activities of his life in the service of the Lord. Krishna says, of all things I am time. He is the devourer. So Even for Lord Brahma, we know that Lord Brahma lives for millions and millions and millions of years, but at one time, he also must give up. As Srila Prabhupada has said in this report, we just have to become Krishna conscious, not dog conscious, not money conscious, not sex conscious, not food conscious. So these are different levels of one's development. What is the first level of consciousness one exhibits in this material world? It's anamoya. What does ana mean? Can you speak louder? What does ana mean? Ana means rice. So what does a baby do? When you're born into this material world, your consciousness is at the lowest level of consciousness, anamoya. All you can think about is, where is my mother's breast? I want to eat, I want to eat, I want to eat, I want to eat. And gradually our taste for food changes from just milk to how many months do they give the baby its first grains? 6 months, something like that. So in this way, we develop a little bit of a higher taste. Well, now I don't want milk, but I want rice and something else. And for many people, this level of consciousness never changes. They remain in anamoya all throughout their life, and we can see how big and fat they become. Just thinking about food, thinking about food, thinking about food. And when they leave this material world, their consciousness is absorbed in food. So, as man proposes, God will dispose. He will provide that living entity with a suitable body to eat unlimited amounts of food, causing them to take a lower birth. Human life, we can eat just, some eat a lot more than others. But for me, a small amount like this is enough. Once a day, and then I'm satisfied. But more. Other people, every time we see them, they have something in their hand, and they are sticking it in their mouth, or they're holding, not so much here, but in the United States, they have these drinks that they buy, and, like the Arios, but it's like 7-Eleven, big cups. They call them big gold. And a big thing like this, and holding on. And their waistline increases and increases. And they get fatter and fatter. This is due to the wrong type of consciousness. Here Srila Prabhupada is saying we must become Krishna consciousness. And we must know that also there are higher planetary systems. You can find so many temples dedicated to demigods where people go and they worship these demigods to achieve some success. Even students go to a temple and pray, oh, give me a good score on my exam so I can enter into this school. This is a material desire. And we must also know that there are lower planetary systems. In the upper planetary systems, life is very conducive for pleasure. So therefore, we are distracted from becoming Krishna conscious. We are thinking only of, oh, how fragrant these flowers are, how beautiful the women who are surrounding me are, how strong and sturdy my body is, and how much wealth I have. this type of person normally does not surrender to Krishna. And then in the hellish planetary systems, life is so abominable that we are continually being subjected to pain, excruciating pain. You may stub your toe, or you may fall down, or you may break your arm, or you may do something, fall off of a bicycle. But that type of pain cannot compare to the suffering that must be endured by those who are sent to the hellish planets. There's a short story I'll tell you. As you know, when you are ready to leave this mortal world, you will be visited by one or the other of entities. Who are they? Yamadutas and the Vishnu. So, who is going to be visited by the Vishnu? All of you are expecting Yamaraj to send his representatives. So this one person had lived a sinful life and left his body. And when you leave your body peacefully in Krishna consciousness, your passing is very gentle, and it's a very smooth transition into the spiritual world. But when the Yamadutas come to fetch you, they reach inside and they jerk you out of this body that you are so much attached to, that alone is the worst pain that you've ever experienced. But on this occasion, the Yamadutas, they decided to give this jiva his choice of which hell, because he had been so sinful, any one of them would be suitable for him. So they took him to this hellish planet, and there were serpents, poisonous spiders, all kinds of creepy, crawling creatures, biting and stinging and inflicting pain on all the inhabitants there. And he said, "No, I don't want this one. No, I don't want this one." And then took him to another planet where everything was engulfed in flames. Fire was everywhere. Everyone's bodies were being burned and suffering from the scorching heat. And then to a planet where it was frigid cold and people were suffering from cold without even one piece of cloth to protect them from the cold. And again, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. No. Show me another planet. So they went to this one planet, and we know that from Bhagavatam, there are many types of oceans. Oceans of milk, oceans of honey, oceans of liquor, any type of liquid that you can imagine, there are oceans with these substances there. So on this particular planet, there were oceans of stool, wet, slimy, smelly stool. And this jiva, who was deciding on which hell he wanted to live in, he saw all these people standing up to their waist in this stool. And he observed them for a while, and as we know, the mind is your best friend and your worst enemy. And in his mind he was thinking, "Oh, I can do this. Yes, I can do this. I'll stay here in this planet, And the Amadusa say, very good. And then they looked at everyone and they said, break's over, now stand on your heads. So this way he was deluded in thinking that just standing wasting the stool would be so bad. But they had to stand on their heads under the stool. So knowing this fact that we have the the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems, which is most advantageous for making progress in spiritual life. So where we're at right now, this is a middle planetary system. Why is that? It's because conditions here, they can become extreme. Summertimes here are quite hot. But for the most part, life can be pleasant. But even here, some people are suffering. We are being provided for because we're under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, and Radharani is taking care of us. But there are others who, due to the modes of nature, have subjected themselves to certain miseries, such as drug addicts, and their behavior is determining that they will take their birth in a lower species of life or in a hellish planet. And pious men who give in charity, they may get some punya and be elevated to a higher planetary system. But this is like a yo-yo. Who knows what a yo-yo is? A yo-yo is a thing on a string. So that's us. I'm going down, I'm going up, I'm going up. But then, when we reach this human form of life, 8,400,000 species of life, and we get this human form of life, and we are fortunate enough to be born in this middle planetary system. If we utilize the facilities that Krishna has provided us, our reward is that we will go back home, we will go back to Godhead. And what is that gift that Krishna has given all of us that no other creature is privileged to? What is that gift? Now, I would expect somebody would know. What is this? Intelligence. So, what is intelligence meant to be used for? How about you?
To know our existence, why the existence is material, to know Lord Krishna.
Yes, what does it say in Shastra? When does knowledge begin? Tata Brahma Jignasa. So intelligence or knowledge begins when one begins to inquire about Brahman. And who is Brahman? I am Brahman. I'm spirit. And then understanding that I am spirit, then we may think, well, I'm spirit, your spirit, your spirit, your spirit. Oh, not I am, we're all God. No, this is a misconception. This is the last trick that Maya will use to enhance her manipulation of you here in this material world. No, the truly intelligence, I am Brahman, so there's someone smarter than me, there's someone more beautiful than me, there's someone more wealthy than me, there's someone more intelligent than me, there's someone more renounced than me. Who is that? And then we inquire into who is Param Brahman. That is, of course, who? Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha. So there are many Ishvaras in such. At this point, when we come to this stage of knowledge, where we begin to inquire about Brahman, then we can resume our spiritual identity. And then we become eligible. Going back to God. What did Krishna say we must do in order to achieve this? In Bhagavad Gita, he says, Sarvadam Nityanmami Kam Saranam Rajata Kam Sarvadam Masruchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and surrender unto me, and I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So as long as we maintain even an inkling of sinful behavior, we are not eligible. Nowadays, you see there are so many organized religions, and all of them are propagating that my religion is better than your religion. Oh yes. But religions can be changed. At one time, India was solely an Hindu society. And then so many people, by the diligence of King Ashoka, converted to Buddhism. And then the Muslims came. And then they converted. So they convert once, they convert twice, they convert three. But these are designations for the body, not the soul. So we should become free from all of our sinful activities. We should neither be pious or impious. What do pious activities give us in return? What is our reward for pious activities? Piety, yes, well, but piety will lift us to the heavenly planet. Yeah, you would like to go to Indraloka? Or sit around the table with Chandra, or go see Vikashwan, or one of these planets. This is the result of pious activities. And impious activities, they force us to suffer. Even in this lifetime, if we perform impious activities, what happens? We are caught by the police, we are incarcerated, and in that prison environment, there are nothing but impious, immoral, ruthless individuals who will do whatever they can to antagonize you, cause you pain. Because when I see that you're suffering, then I become happy. Oh yes, look how that guy's suffering. But But if I'm a pious man, I'm seeing your suffering. Oh, let me give you some food. Let me give you this. Let me give you that. And then, what do? We raise our hand and say, look what I did. Oh, I'm feeding the hungry. I'm creating this organization and this society, and I'm doing all this. So this is called what? Pratishta. This wanting recognition for doing pious things. So, Prabhupada also mentioned that these processes which can enable us to be Krishna conscious, they have no boundaries, or there are no limitations on who can take up this process. So today there are no children here. Oh yeah, there's one little child there, I see. But in Krishna consciousness, you're not excluded because you're old. So maybe in this assembly here, I'm the oldest. So people, they don't say, you're too old, get the hell out of here. Or you're too young. You can't take up Krishna consciousness, I'm sorry. Come back when you're older. But we have examples from Vedic literatures of little boys who became stalwart devotees. Prahlad Maharaj. He became a pure devotee of Lord Krishna even before he was born. Because Narada Muni spoke and instructed his mother. And everything that Narada Muni was teaching to Mrs. Hiranyakashipu, it went over her head like this. But little Prahlad was sitting there with his ear pressed against his mother's tummy, and he was absorbing all of that knowledge and all of that wisdom that was being spoken by Narada Muni. And when he came out of the womb, what did he do? He immediately began to disseminate that knowledge to others, not keeping it to himself, speaking to his childhood friends about how they are wasting their lives in frivolous games, in married life, in work, and deterioration of the body as they grow older. And then we have Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva Maharaj, how old was he? He was 7. So I think Prahlad was 5. Dhruva Maharaj was 7. And Dhruva Maharaj, his motives for becoming Krishna conscious were a bit tainted. How was Dhruva Maharaj tainted? He wanted something from God. He wanted a kingdom bigger and better than his father. And so, who instructed him again? Narada Muni, yes. And what did he say? Go to the forest. So he went to the forest, and there he observed the behavior of saintly persons, had their association, and his desire to have a kingdom better than his father's. He immediately gave that up, and he only wanted to take shelter of the Supreme Lord. And then, what other small children became great stalwart devotees? The 4 Kumaras. And who were they? They were the sons of Lord Brahma. Yes? And he wanted them to become Prajapatis, to populate the earth with progeny. But They refused. No, we're not interested in getting involved in grihastha life. We do not want to be entangled. No, no, no. We have higher ambitions than that. Then, as a curse, you will grow no older than you are right now. But their determination was so strong, what did they do? They went directly to Lord Narayan's home, and they barged their way past Jai and Vijay, cursing them for not recognizing their saintliness, that they must take birth in this material world, in demoniac forms of life, and suffer the consequences of being personally killed by the Supreme Lord. But when they reached the door of Narayan, they banged on the door and were allowed entry, and they began their inquiry. So don't think that, oh, I'm too young, I will wait. We had a tragic misfortune. One of the workers in the MPT, he was not very old. He had a young boy, 8 years old or 7 years old. And just like that, he left this world. So when is the right time, the most opportune time to take up Krishna consciousness? When is that time? Now, right this very minute. And Krishna says, how do you do this? Mammanam bhava mahapato madhyati mayam namasudham devasya satyam te prajatanyam prayo susmi. So always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. So, this is how we do it. Becoming Krishna's devotee. It means that we have to make some forms of sacrifice. We must perform some tapasyas. We must give up without being attached. If one is given wealth, there's devotees, maybe even amongst us here in this room, who are quite wealthy. But if you become greedy and you become attached to that wealth, this is like a man with a heavy gold chain around his neck is weighting him down, and he will not become free. So give up all of your attachments, and the easiest way to become free from all of your attachments in this material life is by the simple process which was so mercifully given to us by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what is that? Harinama, 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 Eva Kevalam, Kalova Nasteva, 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 Katmiyamita. So, who in this assembly is so stupid that they cannot remember 3 words? Hare, Krishna, and Rama. So, I'm quite dense. My memory is not very keen, but even I can remember those 3 names. And chanting these incessantly, always think of me. So if you're sitting there thinking of breakfast now, it's almost to eat. So, no, always thinking, so, chant Hare Krishna, chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. But there's always going to be those that don't want to take to Krishna consciousness. He says, Bahunam Janmanamante Gyanam Prabhajate Vasudevam Sarvamiti Sattva. Out of millions and millions and millions of living entities, only one will take to spiritual life. And one who achieves success in their spiritual life, out of millions of those who are trying, only one will be successful. But there's another class described in Bhagavad Gita, Namam Skripino Mudha Ajante Nadama Mayati Jnanam Sunyam Bhavam Asmitaha. So, those who are Naradamas, Naradama mean the lowest of mankind. We see all kinds of living entities, and some of them are such abominable in their behavior, cleanliness, and so these are Naradamas. And then Mudha. So we know Mudha means ass. So those ass-like people which constitute the majority of the population, they are so stubborn that you can kick them in the head and their ideology won't change. They remain in this form of ignorance. But the worst of all of these is Maya Abhitagyan. So what does that mean? One whose intelligence is stolen away by their intelligence. So, just offhand, who can think of who is one of the smartest men in this world so far? No answer? What are you saying? Well, no. In material life, we have Einstein. Yes, Einstein was very smart. Einstein had an IQ of 160. And he was considered a genius. And there was another gentleman, his name is Walter O'Brien. And his IQ was 196. So his IQ was even more than that of Einstein. But what did both of these people use that intelligence for? They used their intelligence for developing animal propensities. And what are animal propensities? Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So Einstein, what did he do? He thought of how to create atomic weapons which can destroy entire civilizations. And Walter O'Brien, he was recruited by the FBI or the CIA or one of these things, and he used his intelligence also. Oh, but I'm going to catch that guy. I will use my intelligence. But still, no. So their intelligence at the end of their life was not utilized for Brahma Jigyasa, so therefore it's taken away from them, and now they may be some ignorant, stupid person who can't even spell cat. So hopefully we can all escape from the clutches of this material existence and not continually be like that yo-yo that goes up and down, up and down, up and down, from the higher planets to the lower planets, which we have done from time immemorial. So we are given this opportunity today, but as Krishna concludes Bhagavad Gita, he tells Arjuna that I have instructed you on all subjects, but now you make the decision. So if you want to get out of this material world, I cannot save you. I may throw you a life buoy, but if you see the life buoy and you are floundering in the ocean of birth and death and suffering and repeated misery, and you begin to think, well, where did that life buoy come from? Oh, I wonder where it came from. What should I do? No. If someone throws you and escape from your misery, you immediately grab a hold of them. So Lord Chaitanya came just for you and I, because he saw that the suffering that we are enduring in this material world was unbearable. And his name is Patita Pavan, deliverer of the most fallen. And those most fallen living entities are you and I. And he said very simply, chant Hare Krishna. So we all have that much intelligence where we can chant. So one time, with spontaneity and with feeling, everybody please join me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. So we have more to speak, but time is up. So I'll stop here. Any questions? Yes, Mataji. Thank you for the lecture.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for the nice lecture. My question is, in one of the lectures I heard, somebody was quoting Srila Prabhupada that 75% of us will come back to this earth. Only 25% will go back to Godhead. So I wonder, is there any way to ensure that we are among those 25%? I mean, we are following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, but how do we judge that whether what we are doing is right or wrong?
Yes, and I would say that as time has passed, the number of those that will go back to Godhead is less. Because, again, Krishna said, Bahunam Janamante, so out of many, many verses, there only one. So, we have been given a process by which, if you adhere to in your life, in your neophyte stage, you are sadhana bhakti, you perform your service sometimes unwillingly, but if you continue with determination, and what takes place? The heart will become cleansed. And then you will start to make progress in the spiritual life. So it's up to you. It's not up to the Prabhu sitting next to you. It's up to you. How serious are you going to be? Are you going to be 50% serious? 25%? Or are you going to be 100% serious? Say, I'm not coming back to this material world. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to do it. And then if you do it, then you will be in that upper echelon. And you'll go back home, back to Godhead. You'll close your eyes, and you'll open your eyes, and you'll go over Vrindavan, and there to embrace you will be Lord Krishna.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we have another question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I wanted to ask, like, as Mataji asked, corresponding to that only, that we have to take so many words. If you do some good activity or activity related to Krishna, and at the end of death, that you remember Krishna, where you stopped your bhakti, you will start your bhakti again.
Yes.
So, corresponding to her, I just wanted to ask, like, if you will get the next birth as human life or
No.
so, like, how did it start?
What about Judge Bharat? King Bharat? He became a deer because even though he was doing penances and practicing so sincerely in the forest, his attachment was to a little deer. And when the deer wasn't present, his mind was occupied. Oh, I wonder if he's safe from the tigers. I wonder, where's my little deer? Is he hungry? Does he need some water? Whoa, 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 whoa. So what happened? He was born as a deer. So you're not guaranteed a human life. But it's also said that if one performs devotional service and is unsuccessful, in most likelihood they will be born into an aristocratical family or into a family of Brahmins. To be born into a family of wealth is not the best choice because there's the probability that you will become misguided by the wealth, the opulence that you have. Life is so la-di-da and comfortable. I don't need anything, so what need is there for God? So, 4 types of people who surrender to God: those who are in search of wealth, those who are in distress, those who are inquisitive, and those who are in search of knowledge of the absolute truth. And examples of these 4 types of people, those who were in search of wealth, was Dhruva Maharaj. Those who were distressed was Gajendra. And those who were inquisitive were the sages of Nayamacharanga. And those who wanted knowledge of the absolute truth, they were the 4 Kumaras. So these 4 types of people can go back to God yet and become Krishna conscious. But if you're in search of wealth, when you get your money, okay, I have my money now, I'm going to go spend it, I need a new sari, I get a car, buy something for my house, oh yeah. And if we're materially distressed, oh, I have no food, I have nothing, oh, my body is aching and I'm feeling so much pain. Go to a doctor, gives you a pill, oh, I feel good now. So, I don't need you anymore. So being inquisitive and truly wanting knowledge of the absolute truth, these are the highest. And those are the ones that are most likely to be successful. So if I provide you with all of your material comforts, sitting back, just like Hiranyakashipu, what does his name mean? Hiranya means gold, and Kashipu means soft bed. So he had abundance of gold and a soft bed to lay back in. So he had to be put on. Okay, Prabhu, thank you very much. Hare Krishna, all Krishna, Prabhu.